Meeting to order. Ask clerk to call the roll, please.
Ron Kinsley, Ron Buckholz,
Here.
Tom Duffy, John Regheimer,
Here.
Stacy Hessel. You have a quorum.
Certification compliance with the meeting laws.
This meeting was noticed to the media and the public as required by Section 19.84 of Wisconsin statutes.
Thank you. Number 5 of the meeting agenda. The agenda is set. Number 6 is public comment. I assume there's nobody out there. Nobody? Okay, thank you. Number 7, recruiting details for Sawyer County Administration. We have the two gentlemen, Dave and John, from the company that will enlighten us where we're at. We're going to look across to approve the recruiting plan, the timeline, and the documents that they have for us. Welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I'm Dave Brettel from Public Administration Associates. I'll be seeing you when the recruitment closes, and for the selection of finalists, I'll be coming up to Hayward. And thanks for choosing us to help you with this important process. And for the remainder of this, I'll turn it over to John, who's been working on the recruitment, and to walk you through the next steps.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good. Does everyone have a copy of the packet that we had sent out?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just going to go through the packet in the order, the pages. It's not necessarily in the order of you see the items listed on page 1, but we'll just go through. We had the cover memo. Well, maybe we should. Maybe we should talk a little bit about this. So on the bottom of page 1, it's the recruitment plan, and this is the document that we took a look at as far as the schedule, and we talked about it at the last meeting, and we put dates in. So I updated that schedule for you. So we'll talk about that when we get to that. The position description is very similar to. It is in fact what you had for the last recruitment. We have a couple questions there for you, nothing serious. The assessment memo, I'll talk about that. And then the position announcement. We will have to, if we want to begin the advertising either today or tomorrow, we will have to finalize what the salary range is going to be. The marketing plan is just a 1-pager that's included in there. And then we'll also today need to decide whether or not you want to move forward with the emotional intelligence piece of the report. So with that, I'm going to go to page 3, which is the schedule. And again, I revised this after our last meeting. And I plugged in some of the dates that we had. There's still some dates that when we get near to the end of the recruitment that we'll have to finalize. But let me just walk through. So we had the kickoff meeting. Now we're having this meeting today, which we were going to have on Tuesday, but we're still good because we always say never a minimum of 30 days in the recruitment. And if we start advertising today or tomorrow, we still have 30 plus days before the recruitment closes. So we have on the bottom of that page, you can see the recruitment would close on April 28th. On May 2nd, we would have a written report to you that would go through all the candidates, a short version of their resume, where we rank them, and then get your thoughts on them. And then on May 9th, using that document that we have to you a week before, Dave would be coming up there. Unfortunately, I can't make that meeting because I'm having some surgery on my nose. I might be able to participate remotely, though. But on May 9th, the committee had agreed to meet at 10 a.m. to take a look at the candidates and select your finalists. And then on May 19th and 20th is when the committee agreed that they would do the assessment. And what we had talked about at the last meeting is doing it similar to what we did the last time when Andy was hired, where we would start on the 19th in the afternoon, do some of the exercises with the candidates, have a meet and greet that evening. And then the following morning would be meetings with the department heads and the candidates and the committee and the candidates for you then to select your finalist. If that occurs on the 19th and 20th, then either the next week, so late May or early June, there could be a special county board meeting if you want to call a special meeting. And depending on the timing, if there's a long wait in between, we recommend that the board does have a special meeting, because if not, there can be games played where the candidates can find other jobs because we know that they're applying other places, or their employer gets wind that they're in the recruitment and they give them a pay increase, so they stay there. So if you have a finalist, we recommend that even if it's a regular county board meeting or a special county board meeting is required, that you do that. Once the county board takes action, it would be contingent upon a successful background check and all the other things that are required. And then the individual would give notice. So does that make sense to everyone? Or
Yes.
okay.
Yes, that's,
Okay. So the next thing we have is the position description. We really didn't have any changes that we were recommending. I know we looked at this 3 years ago. Does everyone have the position description in front of them?
yes.
Okay. We just had a question on the bottom of the first page and then going into the second page. The word influence there is in red, and there's also that space. We're wondering if anyone is aware of that. Might just be that there was some changes that were made. We don't see any reason why that influence needs to be in red. Does the committee see any reason?
No.
Okay, we just thought if there is no reason for it, then we should probably clean it up. So, when you share the job description with anyone, they don't question why that's there.
Yes.
Okay. So we'll make that change. And then I think I may have asked you this question the last time, but my page is messed up here. I'm sorry. On that page that is where the word influence is on top in red, the third paragraph from the bottom, coordinating with bargaining committee and human resources coordinator. I believe you said there still is a bargaining committee.
Yes, the sheriff's department.
Okay. But I mean, there is an actual committee made up of county board members that is named the bargaining committee.
No, there is not.
So do we need to change that in the job description?
Coordinating with the administrative committee and the human resource, developing a collective bargaining strategy. Yes, I believe you're correct. We should clean that up.
So should we just say delete bargaining committee and add administrative?
I believe
Coordinating
so.
with
yeah.
I believe that would be good.
Okay. And it's administration committee, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, I got to take off mute. We do have a negotiating committee. That's the one that we just met last week to talk about
Yeah.
strategy with the union.
That's for the sheriff's department. So this would be related to the job
Nope.
description. No?
Yeah. In the job description, it relates to the bargaining strategy to negotiate with the union. So I think you want to leave that in there. But it's negotiating committee, not bargaining.
Can we put negotiating committee and administrative committee and human resource coordinator? So you have all three.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, except I thought you'd put administration first. So I'd read coordinating with administration, comma, negotiating committee and human resource coordinator.
I would think administration would be first, yes, but. What? Yeah, I would think admin, John, would go on there first and then the following other ways too, but
Okay. Dave, did you have anything else on the job description?
I don't think so, John. We had gone over
So
it
the
fairly
person
carefully. If there's
knows.
nothing else from the county, I think you hit the ones that we had questions on.
Good
Mr.
detective.
Chairman, if we're going to make these, Mr. Chairman, if we're going to make these changes and the county is going to incorporate them into their documents, we probably should have a motion to approve the job description as revised.
Thank you.
And
With the revisions that we just talked about.
as long as we get, okay, got it.
Go ahead, Mr. Buck.
I make a motion to approve the revisions as we discussed in job description.
Ms. Nelson.
I'll second that. Does it have to be formal where it says labor negotiating committee or just negotiating committee?
Where, can you point that out to me? Where that is?
The third paragraph from the bottom where it says coordinating.
So what you're referencing for the change, so it'd be administrative and then comma, labor negotiations committee, comma, and human resources coordinator.
We can add labor in there if that's what the committee wishes.
Andy, is that what it's technically called?
Yeah, it is labor negotiating committee.
So that's what we should add, John.
Okay, I added word in there, the word labor. Okay,
So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, John.
okay. Next, we'll move to the assessment or the survey results. And I won't go into a lot of detail here, but I'll just say that we had a total of 23 surveys that were returned from county board members and from the management team. When we get down to what were the top qualities to look for, intergovernmental relations, I have as organizational priority. Last time, intergovernmental relations came in as the fourth highest skill. I can tell you that not only in the surveys, but in the comments, there were a lot of the responses that we got back were involving the relations with the tribe and also with the towns. But I would say that they mentioned the tribes more than the town. So I don't know all the details on your end about that, but clearly that was it's a priority for the management team and also for the county board supervisors. Next was strategic planning. Strategic planning came in second in your recruitment 3 years ago, and it's still of high importance there to both the management team and the county board supervisors. That's the wrong page here. I have too many pages in front of me. Next was budget development. Came in third. That was the number one skill 3 years ago. So I don't know if that means that the county board and Andy and others really got your process and the budget is smoother than it was in the past, but it's still a high priority. It came in third, and 5 of the respondents identified the skill as their first choice. Budget development is always ranked high in any survey that we do. Contract project management finished fourth. They had 10 of 23 votes. 4 of the 10 votes were either a 1 or 2, so not as many votes, but still high in the ranking. And then we had 3 skills that were tied for 8th place. They got 8 votes. That was human resources, pay performance, general personnel management, those types of things. A lot of that had to do with recruitment and retention and trying to get compensation and benefits comparable to the private sector. The next one that was tied was continuous improvement and lean concepts. They received 3, 1, or 2 rankings, which certainly is important to mention. This skill was not in your survey 3 years ago, so I can't compare it to that, from the past survey. And then capital improvement planning and execution received 8 votes. They were also tie. Usually when budget ranks high, we'll also see the capital improvement planning rate high. So let me just stop there. And Mr. Chairman, are there any questions on those first skills that we talked about?
Anybody have any questions? No, we're good. Thank you.
Okay. And then as far as personal qualities, a collaborative style and carrying out policies finished first. The management team found this skill extremely important and necessary. Open and positive communication skills was second. And I would say in most of our surveys, communication always comes up as an important skill. And I always say that you can always improve in how you're doing communications, no matter how well you're doing. So communications both ways is important. It's not only communications coming from the administrator, but also coming from the board and from the management team. Approachability finishes a very strong third. Both county board members and the management team, they want to be able to have a conversation, and that it's not, doors are always closed and those types of things. So someone being very approachable. They want people to be responsive. A lot of times we'll hear complaints about, maybe people are too busy and they're just not responding to emails or telephone calls or voicemails. It is important that the individual is responsive. And then just overall dynamic leadership skills finished in 5th place. Any questions on those?
No.
Okay, I'm going to just real quick look through here some of these important issues and just tell you where some of the trends were and where some of them reached higher levels. Affordable housing came up a lot. The alcohol, drug, and mental health use, a bunch of issues came up a lot. A lot on budget regarding needs versus wants and having very responsible budgets. There was a little bit of a trend with the challenges with youth delinquencies and youth justice. A lot of concerns regarding the future of the federal government and our relationship and funding. And I'm seeing that in just about every county that I'm talking to because there's a lot of uncertainty. Economic development was important. From the management team, we saw a lot of comments about employee development, employee satisfaction, those types of things. Recruitment and retention came up a lot. Growing the tax base came up. Housing, I mentioned a little bit before, not only affordable housing, but a wide variety of housing. Again, the intergovernmental relations with the tribes, keeping taxes low. Leadership development came up quite a bit. Again, that came up more from the management team. A number of concerns that mentioned maintaining county highways, bridges, and just county infrastructure in place. Tribal relations. Then moving down to challenges for the next 5 years, pretty much the same. Affordable housing, there was more discussion there about the aging demographics, that young people are leaving, the older people are staying. Pretty much the same thing here. The concerns regarding the 5 years and immediate. It is strategic planning, made that list for 5 years as well. So I think, I don't know where you are with strategic planning. I always tell people that when we do these surveys and we get these types of comments, that's a start of a good strategic plan because you know what some of the concerns are. But any questions on that, Mr. Chairman?
We're good.
Okay. Moving to the next one is just a I was going to say a one pager. I think it's a little bit more than one page, but this is the announcement. This is the one page job announcement that we include with our brochure and with our marketing materials.
I thought
So
it looked very nice.
I'm sorry.
I thought this one page looked very nice. You did a nice job of putting that together.
Okay. That's great. I don't know if there's any questions, but we will, and maybe we can discuss this later. But this one pager does include the salary range. So why don't we skip that for now? But are there any other questions on the one page job announcement?
I think we're good.
Okay. So then we just need to come back and finish up the salary. I've got on page 15 is the marketing plan. These are the places that we place ads. If there's some of these, there's some pretty substantial cost to advertise, but we do get, feedback and we do get candidates from it. So this is what we would use. Plus we would also reach out to candidates. I have two people that specifically I talked to already that they're interested in Sawyer County. And while I think of it, I just want to mention this, that, and Dave can chime in here too if I'm missing anybody. But right now, Dunn County is searching for a county administrator. Eau Claire County, Kathy Schauf just announced that she's retiring in July. They're looking at proposals for an administrator. Greene County is considering transitioning to a county administrator form of government. Dave, am I missing anybody there?
No, I mean, and there's been five vacancies this year, I think, to date. So a lot of turnover in the county market. And just the point on the ads, and John's right, some of them are up to about $1,000. Those are included in your costs. There's no extra charge for our advertising. So if there's something you see on there, we've added, on the basis of some county feedback, we send out an ad to the towns. I don't see them on my... Yeah, Towns Association. But if there's any others that we'd appreciate it if you put it on your employment opportunities webpage, and then also encourage employees to post it on their social media as well. We get a lot of leads that way. We had, I think it was Grant County, put it on a highway movable copy sign. We're not suggesting you have to do that, but they put it out there, and that worked too. So if there's any additions to that, otherwise we'll start running those this afternoon.
Thank you, Dave. Any questions on the marketing plan?
Can we ask you, what about the price ranges, salary range? Is that a fair amount? What do you guys think?
We can talk about that right now if you'd like.
Just a moment, please. You talked to me yesterday about a question of why they'd want to come to Hayward.
Sawyer County. I think there's a question that needs to be said, especially if you're sending it to Iowa, Illinois, Michigan. I want to know why they're coming to Sawyer County, because I feel like we should grow our own, and we're not going to retain them if they're from a big city and come here and their family doesn't like living in a small community. So I want to know, when you ask that question, why Sawyer County, and why we're marketing to all these other states. If we're trying to make it a Midwestern position, I want people to stay more than 3 years. Like I'm really wishing that Andy wouldn't leave, but I've only been on the county board since 2021, and we've gone through 2 administrators. So I hope it's not me, but I want to make sure that these people know what they're getting into and have the love for the county, not just a position that's going to get paid $140,000 or whatever the case may be. So definitely ask that question, and maybe we don't market so far out, but that's just my opinion.
I could add, it's a great question to ask, and I'm that's probably the number one thing I'm interested in is, why are you applying for this job? And so we definitely ask that question. I would encourage you, since you're already paying, we got the costs built in, we'd advertise in those sources. It is Midwest focused, but your recruitment was unique the last time because you had a fair number of people from out of state that had properties or connections in Hayward, Sawyer County. It was interesting to me. And that was a a plus and a minus because it was, I think they were musing at their desk, picturing all the great, summertime fishing and boating and all those things they were doing. And they put in applications. And then when push came to shove, we had a number back out at that point. But knowing why they want to come to your place, absolutely critical. And we will definitely ask that question.
Thank you. Mr. Duffy. Turn your light on.
I'm just going, what do you personally think about the salary range? I mean, a lot of them are here because they want to fish or whatever, but money's going to bait them to go somewhere else. And if we're on the low end, we should think about that right now. And you guys are the experts.
If we're ready to have that discussion, Mr. Chair, I can start. And we had distributed at the kickoff packet actually a memo on compensation, and we were recommending a salary range of $120,000 to $140,000 for the position. Understanding that we experienced sticker shock in a lot of communities, saying, "Hey, we advertised at a top range last time of 115. Why has this gone up?" I think it goes hand in glove with the turnover in the position, and no one can fault someone for trying to advance themselves and their family financially. And I think you're at a niche where you're not going to be the $200,000 position, because you've got to explain this to your constituents and you've got to explain it to your staff, and that doesn't make sense. But we're finding we think that would be a range that would attract some quality individuals and would also give you the ability to retain them at the upper end of that range. So that's where we came in. It was interesting. I just looked at Dunn County this morning, was over 170, I think, what they advertised. Larger county, I understand that, but that's what the trend is. And so at the end of the day, we're not trying to twist arms. We'll run the ads and hire at whatever salary you want. We don't want you to be uncomfortable. We don't want you to advertise this at a range that you don't want to pay. And the other thing we learned is don't start it too low, because that's a detract for candidates too. Sometimes if they see it, starting at 100 to 140, then they say, well, they're not serious about the top end of the range. So John and I beat this up for quite a bit, but we're two people. We see, comparable data recruit in other counties. But, John, you can maybe summarize it better than me, but then I think it's what you all are comfortable with in Sawyer County.
Ms. Hessel.
My concern with that amount is the gap then between the administration underneath the administrator. So my concern is that gap. So I think that that's going to cause some friction. So that's my concern with that price range.
On that point, though, I would say, I don't think we can worry about that. I think we have to go with what the market's paying. Anybody that has an issue with that, I think they should apply for the job. If they're qualified, they can grab that 140 then.
I will share that I talked to our financial gentleman, and we know that Andy was at 115 and he had budgeted 120 for this coming year. Okay. So we're falling right into place.
How much, Mike, was it 126?
120 for 20.
Oh, okay.
So if they come in at 140, then we have to go down to 120 because that's in our budget. Is that what?
No,
No. 120 is on total salary.
Mhm.
Total benefit. So.
Okay.
but you're right. I mean, everybody is entitled to their feelings and how they think the staff underneath them is going to work, because when I first talked to John, that's what John talked to me. You have to think about the rest of your staff also.
Mhm.
So, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah. In that memo, I had kind of the Venn diagram. I was bad at math class, but it was, the intersection of three things: large enough to attract your best candidates. It has to be acceptable to your constituents, that you're not overpaying. And then that third Venn diagram is internal equity. How do your employees on staff perceive it? And so it's fair to think about that. And different places have different reactions. And oftentimes the staff will say, because they have to work with the individual and under the individual, they'll say pay what it takes to get get a good person, regardless of if they're making more than me. To the other point, they could apply for the job as well if they were qualified. But I appreciate all the thoughts that are being shared.
Thank you.
I think the staff also is going to ask about us, why did you hire that guy? Couldn't you get somebody more qualified? So I think that you get the wrong guy, you're going to get comments among the troops. I think we should have quality and dollars. We may have to choke on the figure, but it's worth it to have good men at the lead.
Don't assume we're going to get a man. Don't assume we're going to get a man.
Well, that's a good question. How many do any women apply?
They do. We've actually placed quite a few women, and so a lot of quality women out there as well. So
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just going to say on the salary, I agree with everything that Dave said. If you set your range at 120 to 140, if you find that right candidate, you have to be willing then to go to the 140. Otherwise, that can create some problems. And Dave said the same thing. Ron just mentioned also that there is some concern if you go too high, what the staff says, but overall, the staff wants you to hire the right person and the most qualified person. So I guess the main thing that I would say is if you feel you can't pay up to 140, then you shouldn't make the range that high. I can give you an example, a recruitment that we just finished up in Richland County, where they significantly raised their range from the prior recruitment. They were 130 to 150. And in the end, they ended up hiring their human services director and started her at the low end of the range. She was, can't remember, she was 130 or 132 or something like that. So it does happen that you can find a real quality person. And on that point also, we really want to encourage, if there are any internal candidates that are qualified, that they apply. I like it if people have county experience. I like it if they have experience in Wisconsin. I like it if they have some tie to Wisconsin, so hopefully they stay a little bit longer. I agree with all those comments, but I think we have to cast a broad net here to try and find the most qualified people that we can.
Thank you.
What does the hospital administrator get paid and what does the school administrator get paid? I think we have to,
They also have different duties.
I realize that, but
That's a good question, though.
yeah. It's kind of nice to know the community. What are we paying for top leaders?
So I know our school administrator is getting 175. I don't know what the hospital administrator is getting because that's not public record like the school is. So the school is 175, but that's 24 years of experience. He's been there 24 years. He's not just getting hired. That's 24 years of working himself up to that point. So you have to look at the longevity too. So what is the longevity and how are we rewarding if they stay longer than 3 years? Do we do the lower end, but then say if you stay not just your 3 years like everybody seems to do, but you stay longer, then you get a bonus after that. Something of that structure. That's all I'm thinking is start them low and then work their way up instead of.
But a lot of that'll be negotiated with who you pick for your final candidate. And they're gonna come in with some requests and you have to see if you can balance out their requests to what your needs are. John?
I was just going to agree with that. We're getting ahead of ourselves, and that's the negotiation. Obviously, if they're top candidate, not a lot of experience, we think we can get them at 120, that's what we should do. I mean, it's going to depend on who that man or woman is that we're attracted to as far as that position goes.
Mr. Chairman, I believe we should just go with the 120 and 140. So we can, I think we'll get some pretty good candidates at that, either like Mr. Righeimer says and Ms. Hessel, man or a woman. Either one, I mean.
I don't know if we need a motion.
No.
If we do, I make that motion, but
Okay. Well, as long as we got this, I guess we might as well use it. So the range, we have a motion and a second of the range for 120 to 140 to advertise for. Any discussion? All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. There's your range, my friend.
Okay, we will incorporate that into the documents. Also in the packet, we included the information or some information regarding emotional intelligence. I can tell you that the two most recent recruitments that we did, Chippewa County and Richland County, they went with the emotional intelligence piece and got a report back. They were very pleased with that. We are building it into all of our recruitments now as an option. It really helps take a look at the candidates. And what was really interesting is the final day when we were doing the final assessments in Richland County, Scott Middlestead and I rode to Richland Center together. And I was driving and he was going through the reports and I was telling him things that I saw in the reports. He had not met any of the candidates. He didn't know any of them personally. And the reports absolutely nailed the personalities and all the characteristics of each one of those candidates. It was just amazing. And the committee, the selection committee in Richland County saw that as well. So one of the things, and I've heard it again this morning, is, you're hoping that if you get a quality candidate that he or she stays with the county for some time. That's beneficial to the county certainly, and to the candidate if they, if they like it there. I just looked at another recruitment this morning that PEA is filling. It's a city. That individual has been there 30 years. I know him personally. No one wanted him to leave. He's retiring now. But those are the people that you're really looking for, big ideas, concerned about the budgets, all those things, very active in community for the entire 30 years. So again, it's, some of the things that it takes a look at, the emotional intelligence is self-awareness and self-regulation. If they're motivated, do they have empathy for others? What are their social skills? We saw that very clearly in Richland County, one of the finalists. When it got to the meet and greet, he was just not very sociable, very different than the other candidates were there. Some of them, it can test them on how good is their ability to lead or not being able to lead. And it points out their strengths and weaknesses. And then it also gives the opportunity, let's say you hire somebody and you know what their weakness is, the county can work with them to provide the resources to help or assist him or her to do their job. And I know Andy went through it in Chippewa County, and I don't know if he wants to, comment on it or not. I will say this, though, that after we did the emotional intelligence for the administrator's position in Chippewa County, they have now done the emotional intelligence for all their department heads. They believed in it that strongly. So, Mr. Chairman, I don't know if Andy wants to make any comments. I don't want to put him on the spot or not.
And we're not trying to twist arms here with this. We think it adds value, and they've had good feedback from the counties. But be candid, Andy, if you can, and Sawyer County, you can choose or not choose this as you see fit. It's a $1,900 deduction if you don't choose it.
I had talked to,
Do
go
it.
ahead, Andy.
Do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this might be my only piece of advice. Everything's been good, so I'm staying quiet with your discussion, but I thought it was very valuable. I first got the results before I had, they also do Scott from PAA did a debrief with me last week, explaining me the results. When I first got the results, I was a little wondering why they hired me when I just wrote it myself. But after having them explain to me and talking about the balance and how the scores are, you can't look at it like a test, like you pass, fail, but it gave me a lot better understanding of myself. Not a ton of surprises, but I can say I think Chippewa County is going to get $1,900 or more value out of me because I have that, have gone through that process and know how that matches up with the position.
Questions, concerns?
I have a question. John, If we do the emotional intelligence test, doesn't that get us better candidates also?
I would say overall, it's possible that a candidate, especially if they're unaware of what emotional intelligence testing is about, that they may not apply. We had the situation in Richland County where the human services director, who in the end got the position, she saw that in the recruitment materials that was a requirement. She went online and it was a little bit of a different test than what Andy went through, but she said it really helped her, and she thought it also made her a better candidate and someone who could interview better as well, knowing her weaknesses, some that she had never realized before. So yeah, I think you can get some better candidates for it. I think that we're going to see more and more of our clients using emotional intelligence, and just like Chippewa did, doing it on their own. But there is a cost to it, and we want to point that out to you. So if cost is a factor, again, it's a $1,900 deduction if you do not do the emotional intelligence.
I'd like to make a motion to do the emotional intelligence, but I'm wondering if we can get a group rate so the whole board can do it. That'd be great.
Mr. Regimer.
I'll second. I'll just say emotional intelligence and these things have been around for 20, 30, 35 years, so it's nothing new. I think this hedges our search. I mean, when you never know what you're getting, even with, I like more tests the better in recruitment, but even then that's not foolproof, but this hedges your decision that you get a full picture of who you're hiring. So I second.
So we have a motion and a second to do the emotional intelligence test. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion?
I'm only half joking about all of us doing it. Okay, because I really think it would be beneficial if we did it as a board, but
But we didn't put that part in the motion.
no, I know.
All in favor, yes. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, John.
Okay, I want to just go back then a little bit to the recruitment. I know we had talked about at the last meeting that we would do the Zoom meetings. So as the candidates start coming in, if we see candidates that are highly qualified, we will start doing Zoom meetings with them. And yes, either question number 1 or question number 2 in those Zoom meetings is, what do you know about Sawyer County and why do you want to be county administrator in Sawyer County? And so I think the Zoom meetings we use those as a replacement for what they used to do years ago, a first interview and a second interview. So we really do that first interview on behalf of the county. And we can show you some questions that we typically ask in those Zoom videos. But otherwise, if that's acceptable to the county, we will start doing Zoom interviews with the candidates if we believe that they're highly qualified.
I think they should.
Okay.
Yes.
The other thing I want to make sure is everyone still okay with the day and a half assessment? So the first day we, probably do facilities tours, the meet and greet in the evening, and then on the second day we do final interviews. The committee does interviews, department heads do interviews. The committee does their deliberation after everything is done. Dave provides some feedback on what he hears from department heads. We would go through the emotional intelligence reports at that point. Does that make sense to the committee?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And then the one other piece regarding the assessments that I wanted to bring up is a writing exercise. We believe it's very important. Sometimes people can express themselves verbally very well, but they don't have good writing skills. So we always recommend a writing skill. And what I've been doing recently, and Andy just went through the same thing in Chippewa, rather than having them do a writing test the same day that they're doing the interviews, because it's a very stressful day for them, is we do that in advance. So the county agrees on what the question would be that we give them to answer. They have 60 minutes once they receive that question to email me back their response. So does that make sense if we do that in advance and then provide those writing exercises the day of the final assessment?
Yes, it does, John.
Okay, so we will do that. I wanted to talk a little bit about the brochure and this, we worked off of what you had last time. And maybe Dave, I'll turn it over to you because you did the work on this.
Sure. With the brochure, the goal is not an exhaustive research piece on the county. We're hoping that, the candidates ideally should be doing a lot of that research on their own, but we're looking for a colorful piece that sells the county, just hits the highlights and gets them interested in the job. So I included that if there's something that you see in there that is glaringly wrong. I remember the last time Tom Hoff found that I found a picture I was so proud of for the cover, and it was Minong. So we took that off. These are all pictures in your county. But is there any problems or issues that you see? Otherwise, this is a piece that we mail out to the candidates and encourage them to apply.
It's, part of it's page 8. No, that's incorrect. Just a minute.
I don't think it was included. I didn't see it.
It was not included, so we can't help you on that.
Okay, it was, I think, John, did you mail that separately maybe?
Yeah, Ron, I mailed that to you after, I think maybe the day after I emailed you the packet.
Okay.
I wonder if it would be possible if we could get that distributed to the committee members, and then if there's any issues with that, maybe if that would be fair, close of business or something, let us know, or tomorrow, let us know if there's something. I don't want to put out something that's inaccurate. Everybody has different preferences as to what to emphasize, but I want to be fair to you too, to have a look at it. So whatever you think best on that.
Is there any way to put it on the screen so we can just all do it together now?
I got it. Let me just forward it to you. My error, I guess, is something I missed.
Oh, no, whereas it got back a bit later just because we needed to incorporate the results of that assessment in there. Let me grab my mouse.
Can you send it to Mike though, so you can put it on the screen? Because not everybody has their computer here.
Sure, we did.
I sent it to Liz. Let's see if I can send it to Mike. I sent it to you, Mike. I sent it to you too. I sent it to you. I sent it to Liz and Stacy. Time you gotta leave, John? You have any concerns that you want to express?
Is there any other major decisions you think coming up?
Maybe, but I'll talk to you about that later. Thank you, John.
Yes. Sit right there then.
All right, there's the brochure. Sorry about the inconvenience.
Oh, perfect.
That's fine.
I think so.
Is there anything that stands out you want to ask us about, John or Dave?
Nothing that I was concerned about, but we just had it basically reiterates the job description in there, talks a little bit about what the county administrator does, and we incorporated some of the priorities that we had discerned on your survey and skill sets that you're looking for. So there was nothing that we that was a concern to me. I think we've got your budget information in there, so we're comfortable if you guys are.
Stacy likes your pictures.
Oh, good. Thank you. I think they were yours, so I got them.
It looks good.
Okay, thank you. I think, John, that is everything on my list.
Yeah, that's everything on my list too. The only note that I had here is, and I don't know how you feel about it as a committee, but I think since the county went through that survey and we have the analysis, I believe it would be a good thing at some point to share that with the board and with the management team. And if you desire to do that, I can send you a document that it's just the results. It's not the full, the brochure and this whole document that you have. I can send the assessment results to you as a separate document is what I was trying to say.
Okay, I would like that.
Okay. Yeah, I just think it'd be good to share it with the board. Other than that, Mr. Chair, I think we can make these changes that the committee approved this morning. And Dave, it's more on you than on me, but I think we could get the ads starting to roll today.
Correct. We will do that, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all in May. I'm excited to come up there then.
Before we part.
Yeah.
Are we
Turn your
having-
mic on so we can hear you. Please.
Are we having some activities, like the fishing and what we do in the winter and? I don't have. Here.
Yeah, yes, I tried to include that, snowmobiling, UTVs, ATVs, fishing, boating.
Tom's
The
a,
lumberjacks and the,
Tom's a big skier. He wants the Berkey binder in there.
Okay, we got Berkey in there. I
The
think.
Burke Briner's in.
yeah. And maybe the tribe?
Oh,
No.
Yikes.
Yeah, okay.
looks good. Thank you.
Okay, if there's any other questions for us, we'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I think you've been very patient with us, and we appreciate your time this morning.
Appreciate your quality of work.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, unless we hear otherwise, we'll work through you if there's any updates to provide the committee.
All right, that would be fine.
I have a quick question. Is this something that you put out on social media that we can help promote by sharing it?
Yes, and tell me the best way to do that. We'll put it on LinkedIn. We post it on LinkedIn. I can, whatever. I think that social media of board members, of staff are very important. So let me know what you would like to be able to post this effectively, and we can get it to you.
Do we have something through the county so it still functions through the county? Like a social media site on the county or the county website that, anything?
I guess I would ask Rose or Mike.
Can you make it shareable though, like a Instagram or Facebook from the county website? I'm so technology challenged, I don't know.
We have Facebook pages for the Sheriff's Department, Highway Department, Human Services. We can put it on there and then it can be shared from those.
Oh, great. Yes, I've seen that on the sheriff's department. So that's what I was thinking. Thank you so much.
And we'll alert the chamber to have them share it as well.
Good. Good question. All right. Thank you,
Thank you very
John.
much.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
Take care.
Andy, you want to hang tight for a minute?
Okay, I'm here.
So we have number 7 accomplished. So number 8, we have set up a closed session to discuss some items that's related in what is listed there. Is that okay to move forward with that?
The closed session was for discussing the compensation for competitive bargaining reasons.
Right?
I didn't hear any reasons that you discussed that needed to be done in closed session. So at least for the purposes of the closed session, you've already accomplished those.
All right.
I don't think closed session.
Well, then at the next administrative meeting, I'm going to put a closed session on, and you and I can talk about that in the future.
I understand.
All right? So the next item we have on the agenda is to adjourn. Does anybody have any Questions or concerns prior to that? Yes.
Prior to that, are we doing an exit interview in a closed session with Andy?
That's a good idea.
I would like to know things when he leaves.
Yeah, we can do that.
Or is that something Rose does? It's HR?
I will communicate with them and see if we can do that as administrative committee at our next meeting. He's still here. If we have it properly noticed in the agenda. Until someone tells me different, I think we can do that.
You can do that. I think that makes a lot of sense.
With that said, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you for your valuable time. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Mike and Liz.